a lot of organizations that are collecting millions of dollars in the name of combating trafficking, and they're really just exploiting the problem. Now, I see that as part of the problem. I'm a survivor of 20 years of cult abuse, including trafficking. I was born and raised in one of the most notorious cults in the world. A lot of bad things happening, including trafficking. All of it was done in the name of Jesus. The point, though, is that it was also familial trafficking, meaning our parents thought it was God's highest will to raise us in this cult where a lot of bad things happen, and we were raised like we were not going to grow up because it was also an apocalyptic cult. Here's where I'm going with this, though. There's a lot of organizations that are claiming to solve problems, but they don't even understand the problem. Much less are they actually doing what they say in terms of combating the problem. Now, I'm specifically talking about the organizations that have raised millions of dollars or just a lot of money, the type of money that we should expect measurable results from, right? Not just like awareness or pretty websites and social media, right? Now, if you're exploiting the problem, I think that's part of the problem, because not only are you misleading people, not only are you keeping resources away from the real victims, the real problems, and the real solutions, right? You're also distancing the good people from getting involved in fighting this, right? So law enforcement doesn't take this seriously. The legal justice system isn't updated accordingly. People don't understand who the real bad guys are, who the real problems and solutions are. They don't know that a lot of these problems are very solvable and that we should actually have solved them a long time ago. People don't understand how realistic these things are, especially if we are intentionally misleading people. So I want people to be much better at not only vetting the intent behind organizations and, are they doing what they say they're doing, but also looking for the measurable impact, because it's easy to mislead people with like fancy words and pretty things, or even catering to their bias. For example, using religion to get people to trust them and be like, oh, great Christian organization, yay God, right? Instead of looking for like, are we really doing what we say? So I also want to give a word of caution. Even if an organization is making specific claims that sound tangible, claims that are so specific we wouldn't normally question them, I would still encourage you to fact check those claims. Here's what I mean. Even if they're saying, for example, they're claiming warrants or arrests or 100% conviction rate, I know of organizations who claim those things and they don't exist, right? Now that's so wild, but we can look into those things. We can look into the arrest records. We can look into, was this person convicted, right? Did these warrants even get issued, right? Were they even signed off on? No. So a lot of times these claims, right, they can be very misleading. And I understand people lead busy lives, but we should be willing to really contribute to the real solution. And in order to do that, we have to be willing to understand the real problems and the real solutions. So I'll talk more about this and let me know your questions. I want to thank everyone who's willing to be part of the solution, because you and I could make a difference. It takes us being willing to ensure our solutions are actually effective.